today I wanted to chat a bit about my med school journey and my process of getting here as a third-year medical student. I finally did it. Never thought this day would come, to be honest. Quite the journey, and I also wanted to share some assumptions that people often think are true. We'll get to that a little bit later. First, let me talk a bit about my journey, and hopefully it can inspire some of you to keep going. Firstly, I did an undergraduate degree at the University of North Florida, which was about 45 minutes from my hometown. And then I hadn't really planned on taking a gap year, but ended up taking a gap year because I honestly was just so disorganized.
Yeah, sis, you took a major L on that one.
I'm gonna call myself out on it. I literally just had no idea what the application process was like for medical school. I obviously had friends who were in the space as well, who were also pre-meds, and we would talk about it, but I was always so hesitant to talk to my friends about it because it's such a personal process, right? You literally put your heart and soul into that med school application. It's like your deepest, darkest secrets, and also your little baby. There are so many emotions that go into that application. So I kind of kept it on the hush, and looking back, I wish I hadn't, because I think I would have gained a lot of information from my friends on how to make my application better and what the whole process looked like. Maybe I wouldn't have had to take a gap year, but I applied the first time, got my application in as soon as you could, which was the end of May, and I applied to, I think, 16 schools, all MD. I applied to all MD schools, maybe one or two DO. But mostly MD schools at the time, and start doing secondaries. That's all going well, submitting all of those, mind you, spending thousands of dollars at this point, thousands of dollars on this. And then I got one interview. In January, and it was one of the only DO schools I applied to, actually, LECOM, which was a DO school down in Florida, which is where I was at the time. And I was so ecstatic about having an interview, because at this point I'm just getting rejection after rejection after rejection. I think it was down to LECOM, the other DO school that I applied to, and then two other MD schools at this point. Everybody else had rejected me. And so I interview for LECOM. I think the interview goes great. Ghosted. To this day, have not heard from that school. To this day. It's not they said, oh, you're on a wait list, or, oh, sorry, we just didn't like your interview. No, ghosted. I got ghosted from a medical school. And that basically wrapped up the end of my cycle that year. I was devastated. Of course, I was devastated. And I'm do I even apply again? What do I do? Do I take my MCAT again? Do I need to do something? What do I do with this year now that I have a whole extra year if I apply again that I'm gonna be in my hometown for it? What do I do? My timeline is all off. And this is all during COVID, so the pandemic is going on, so that adds a layer of stress and just unknown about what the world is and what to expect for the next year of my life. And I talked to some of my advisors, and I talked to my parents, and I talked to my boyfriend at the time, and I was just I'm gonna apply again. I'm not gonna take my MCAT. I've spent the past year working as an MA. I'm gonna go in with new letters of rec, with a new experience under my belt, and I'm gonna switch up the schools that I'm gonna apply to. Like, I was looking into DO schools more, and I really was getting the sense that that's where I belonged. I was like, I think a DO school is just right for me. Like, I'm a very hands-on person. Like, I believe so much in integrating your whole body and your whole mind into your health. And I was like, I'm gonna send it. So May came around again. Once again, I'm getting in my application as early as possible at the end of May.
I've never sounded more like a type A gunner medical student in my whole entire life.
And another couple thousands of dollars spent on that. Christ. So I sent my application to 12 DO schools and got my secondaries in as soon as they were coming in, secondaries. And then I got my first interview in early September. And you know, last cycle I had gotten one and it was in January. So getting an interview request that early was like, oh my goodness, like one of the most exciting things. So that was with Des Moines University, and I interviewed with them, and it was through like a weird platform. Like, it wasn't Zoom. It was super strange. It was strange. Interviewed with them, and then a couple weeks later got interview for Rocky Vista, which is where I go now, whoop whoop, and then Campbell University in North Carolina. And I did both of those interviews because they were like, I think I did them the same week. And the second I got into Rocky Vista, I was like, I'm sold. I'm sold. Because I wanted out of Florida so bad. I was like, I need out. And also was ecstatic. Like, Rocky Vista is like one of the top DO schools in the country. Like, truly such a amazing school. Like, every school has its issues, but Rocky Vista overall has been such a good medical school. So the second I got in there, I was like, sold. Like, we are going. Was probably one of the greatest days of my life. I cried on the phone when the lady called to tell me that I got in. Literally was sobbing. She probably thinks I'm a psychopath. Then I spent the rest of the year working as an MA. That summer of 2022, I moved to Colorado and started medical school. And now I am a third-year medical student. I'm in rotations right now. Currently, as I'm filming this, I'm in my OBGYN rotation, delivering babies, helping with C-sections, which are two things that I didn't think I would love. And here I am just being like, who needs a baby delivered? Sign me up. So that was kind of my journey to getting into medical school. Now, as of medical school itself, oh boy, it was a whirlwind. It goes by so fast, so fast. Like, appreciate every single moment that you have because it's gone in a blink of an eye. Now, let's go ahead and get into some assumptions that people have about medical students. So, assumption number one is that medical students never sleep. Okay. I'm a grandma. I need my 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Non-negotiable. So I sleep, okay? There was one night that I can recall where I truly stayed up all night, and it was a chaotic night, but for the most part, I sleep 8 to 9 hours. And I might be an odd man out there, but you gotta get your sleep. Another assumption that people have about medical students is that we never have fun and never have time for anything else. Honestly, that's just a load of crap. It's so not true. It's actually comical. The amount of new experiences I've had since living in Colorado and being in medical school is way more than I thought I would have. I got to travel. I went to Amsterdam. I went to the Dominican Republic. I've been home to Florida several times to see my family. I do plenty. You make time for what you want to do. Like, if you love skiing, you'll make time to get to the slopes. If you love, I don't know, XYZ hobby, you will make time for it. You will. And you need to. You really need to, because it keeps you sane. Do not be one of those students who literally lives at the library. Like, good grief, don't do that. Go do something fun. Like, go live your life, because you're still, at the end of the day, you are still in your 20s, your 30s, 40s, whatever age you are. Like, you are still a human, and you still need to experience life. And another big assumption that people have about medical students is that we are all type A people. Yes. You thought I was gonna say no. Yes. That is 100% true. I don't know a single medical student who is not to some degree type A OCD vibe. I'm sure they exist. I'm sure that they do. But the majority of us are so type A OCD, slightly anxious, slightly neurotic people. And I think you honestly have to be. Like, this process, learning the human body, like becoming a doctor, is so detail oriented. It's so organizational. Everything is steps. Everything is organization. Everything is meticulous and detail oriented. So being type A, honestly, it helps. Like, for all you type B medical students out there, kudos to you. Like, honestly, I don't know how you stay so relaxed and so chill. I need some of that. But that is all for today. Thank you for chatting with me and coming along. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. So that just happened. Yeah.